Well, it's credits. That's another game beaten, so you guys know what that means. Time for my thoughts. Um, in likeness to the game itself, it's not going to be super long. And since it's an older game, I'm not really going to harp too much on like graphics and performance and stuff like that. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to do is go deep dive it on YouTube and understand more, because even though I played the game, and I would say up until about 2/3 of the way through the game, it does seem relatively kind of on point. Like, it's kind of understandable, easy to follow. You get the gist of things. There's definitely plenty of questions, but it's just kind of like, huh? But yeah, I think I said it best earlier. This is like video game comfort food. There is a lot of very old school game jank in this game, but I actually sort of appreciate it. I appreciate the simplicity behind a lot of stuff, even though the shooting feels or the aiming feels kind of like you're just, pissing into the wind. It still is fun. It's engaging. Finding the new weapons and trying stuff out is kind of cool, although it didn't get to use a lot of them for very long. The design of some stuff is actually really cool. I like the outfits and everything. I wish I could have gotten one of the power suits, but then again, maybe I could have, I just didn't explore enough. Yeah, this is a very cryptic game, but there are 3 other games that all released shortly around the same time. I should say there's 3 games in total, I believe. All 3 came out around the same time. I think it was like 2007, 8, and 9, something along those lines. But yeah, I mean, cryptic is probably the best way to fucking put it. I did not like 110% this game. Like I said, I kind of just went through the motions, followed the main quest, because the game was buggy. The game was really buggy. It would have things where I would complete a quest and then the setup for that quest would still be there. A good example is there's a side quest at the very beginning area where a guy asked me to help ambush these bad guys that were going to come into the camp and try to like push everybody over. So you get into position, bad guys spawn, and then everybody shoots them, and you kill the bad guys, defend the camp, hooray. Well, after I did that and I went on about my business, I came back and I realized everybody in the camp is still in those ambush positions, and I'm just like, what? Like, why is that the case? They're even like saying similar dialogue, like, get into the position, shh, don't let them hear you, that kind of a thing. And it's just like, let who hear me? We already fucking did the mission. But this game, I'm not going to harp on it too much for all that stuff, because at the end of the day, it's a really old game. It was meant for a different level of PC, and I don't think the budget was all that high in this game. Did you save right before your wish? I did. I have a few saves actually in that final area alone. So if anything, I can reload that save and explore around a little bit more, see if there's anything I missed, if I'm so inclined. It really will depend on what I dig up online and see if there's any extra content that I missed, like if there's like a final boss even. Because I'm literally like, for the last third of the game, I was carrying around an RPG in my pocket. That's part of why I was having such bad weight management issues there at the end, is because I have like this hugely heavy RPG that I thought I was going to need to use on something, but it turns out, at least in the route that I took, I didn't. But again, don't want to get too bogged down in like the nitty-gritty performance details. It's just, those are kind of irrelevant nowadays. The fact is, I was able to play the game. I actually really enjoyed the game. I had a good experience overall, and though it was cryptic, though I got no answers to my questions, I'm still very intrigued by this, and I actually really liked the universe that they're portraying. There's all these warring factions, there's a lot of intrigue, there's like really interesting characters that you don't really get to in this game embellish on and learn more about. But I'm hoping that'll change. The whole goal of the game starts off to kill this guy S.T.A.L.K.E.R, but you find out, at least I think you find out, he's already dead. And so it kind of just becomes find this wishmaker thing. And in no point does your guy actually really talk, other than in some dialogue sequences for like questing. He'll have some stuff, and he does kind of sound gruff, but in no way, shape, or form did he lead on to make you believe, oh, I'm just gonna go and wish to be rich. That came out of fucking left field. Talk about just a fucking anticlimactic ending. um yeah, I don't know. Like I like the game a lot, especially since I spent like $5 on this. It was totally worth the money personally. And now I have context going into Stalker 2, which whenever that does come out, that'll be a lot more substantial of a game. That'll be a lot more of a story, you know, deep dive. There'll be more content. There'll be more answers, I'm sure. Plus, there's still 2 other games from this era to play, and I would like to believe that they are also going to embellish on them too. Make Stalker happen, and encourage no matter what. Your good efforts will not be forgotten. I certainly hope not, but we gotta give the devs some credit. Those motherfuckers are literally sitting in bathtubs trying to develop the next game. It's kind of a dumb reason. Is it because I just kind of beelined it to the end? The graphics and gameplay look a lot like Fallout New Vegas, which is absolutely a compliment. No, I agree. It does very much have like Fallout vibes. And I kind of like that even though it has the Fallout vibes, it doesn't have the mass amount of like useless stuff that Fallout did, especially with the way the weight management works in this. Unless I find something that'll change it, you get 50 pounds of weight and that is it. You do not get to change it at all. Now he has too much money on you? Can I drop money? Oh, I can't. Yeah, I have 146,000 RU. I was carrying this bad boy around for seemingly no fucking reason. I hate you.
Иди ко мне. Ты обретешь то, что заслуживаешь.
Yeah, apparently you can't drop money. If you have over like 50,000, you get the greedy ending. And honestly, I wasn't like hoarding on purpose. I was just like expecting there to be like a vendor or something to come along that has like really cool gear that I wanted to buy. That was it. Either way, to summarize everything, my thoughts on this game are definitely pick it up on a Steam sale and give it a shot if you want to try some old school gaming history, if you will, because this was very niche, although quite a unique experience, all things considered. The sum of all of its parts, it's definitely a chore to get through unless you are genuinely like intrigued in the universe. But at the end of the day, I kind of just wanted to play it, get a feel for, you know, the universe, the lore, and get a good head for when the actual second game comes out, so I can actually go into it with a level of hype at least somewhat relevant or somewhat close to where the actual true Stalker fans are. I've had a few people come through my channel and while I was playing this and just tell me nothing but good things. And I can definitely see where their fascination lies. Had I been more patient with this game, there's a lot of content I think I kind of missed out on simply because I was just following the main quest. But I think I'm going to do the same as you, Moody. I'm going to go and check out some of the other endings and then just move on to the next game. But yeah. Uh, let's put a big fat number on it and see what we think. For me personally, again, I'm trying not to take the jank and the techno like the performance aspects too hard into account, simply because it's an old game and it was meant for a different PC setup than what I have now, a different operating system, all those things. So there's going to be a level of jank that is not on the fault of the developer. It's simply on the fault of myself for the time that I'm actually playing the game. Either way, that being said, there was still some definite jank in the game that I didn't appreciate. The weight management system sucks. I'm a greedy loot goblin. I want all the things, so I guess that makes sense that I got the ending that I got. I mean, shit, yeah, we can watch it on stream. Yeah, we'll watch the endings on stream. But so for me personally, I think I'm gonna give this game like a 7 out of 10. Uh yeah, for me personally, I'm gonna give this game a 7 out of 10. There's definitely a lot I found lacking. I feel like the world itself would have benefited from just more intriguing loot caches. There's a lot of open, empty spaces that felt practically useless. The most you were going to get out of some of them is simply using it as cover and maneuverability in a firefight. And that was really about it. And then you really have to try, because some of those areas, the enemies don't even like path over there. So it's like, I don't know, you'd have to lead them there, or get them to follow you there in order to even utilize it as cover. Otherwise, it's quite literally just an open building or route or something like that that has virtually no point. You whispered me the link. The wiki has them all and the explanations. Okay, cool. And then overall, a general rating, I'm gonna probably give this I'm gonna give it like a 5 out of 10. And that rating is, unfortunately, does have to take into account the technological and that's another word. A 5 out of 10 rating is going to take into account the jankiness, the performance, because at the end of the day, I personally am trying to look past the performance issues because I'm aware of the stipulations behind them. However, the average gamer, somebody just going through Steam says, "Oh, hey, this soccer game, an FPS in Chernobyl. Okay, this looks kind of cool. Let's download it." To them, that is not going to matter at all when it was made or anything like that. They're going to see a game on Steam, they're going to buy it, they're going to play it, and they're going to be what the fuck with a lot of the bugs and the jankiness. And you know what? That's totally fair. I completely understand where they're coming from, and I feel like, to a degree, they are completely in the right for judging it in that manner. And then with the shortcomings that I personally had as well, finding a lot of empty and unused space in the game, a lack of direction with certain things, not necessarily like direction with the quest, but like a direction with like how to use certain systems, how to manage things, all of that stuff. It was very kind of janky, it was very janky, and I feel like that's going to really hamper on the average gamer's experience overall. I feel like if you're going to complete this game, you have to have a good appreciation for it on its own right, for the lore and the tone, the mood. I actually loved the fact that this whole game was like overcast and gloomy skies. I personally loved that. That was a really good mood setter myself. Appreciate you, Akbo. And that's also one of the reasons why I'm rating it a little bit higher, because I was personally able to get immersed in it, and I found, like I said, there was a lot of intrigue in the story. The characters were really cool. I found the like world itself to be really interesting, like the whole I forgot what the town is called, but there was a settlement, and in the settlement there's a place called the Bar, which I thought was a really cool idea. It's a meeting place for all the stalkers and all the factions, essentially, to kind of come through and let bygones be bygones, trade information, trade supplies, I just thought that whole aspect was really cool, and I hope we get to see that in future games. Now, again, I don't know anything about the sequels that are already made, so I might get my wish there, but I would also really like to see it in the modern engine with the new Stalker 2 and all that stuff that they're working on. So yeah, to summarize my thoughts, I actually really enjoyed the game. Personally, I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. I thought there was a lot to love. Unfortunately, that those things you kind of have to dig deep for. And a more general rating for the average, gamer who's just going through Steam and sees a cool FPS shooter, I'm gonna have to give it like a 5 out of 10 because it is not smooth. It was not optimized for modern operating systems, modern gaming in general. There's a lot of old school game elements that don't translate very well to today's gaming. That said, there were some that did translate very well, but I feel like, especially with the climate in today's, atmosphere with the whole, if it's not 60 FPS, Ultra HD, and makes me come every time I turn on the fucking video game, it's a shit game, it's trash, don't play it. I feel like with that mindset and that atmosphere, this game is going to find a really hard time trying to thrive and make a name for itself. I think it's kind of Stalker as a series right now is about as big as it's gonna ever be until Stalker 2 comes out. I don't think, a sale or somebody like me who's just making random my thoughts videos on the games is gonna make any crazy resurgence for the series. But that being said, I personally would recommend playing the game, giving it a shot if you can find it on Steam on sale. Especially if you like the genre, if you like Fallout, if you like older FPSs in general. The gunplay was a lot of fun. I admittedly, some of it felt like pissing in the wind, but I mean, they got to find a way to balance it out a little bit. So I would recommend it to like the more hardcore gamer. And the casual gamer, you probably fine just skipping this one. It might not be anything. You're really not missing anything. Uh, for me personally, the whole reason I got into the series is I just wanted more context for the game that's coming out. And if that's the standpoint you're coming from, I would, you'll definitely have an interest in this, but I don't know if it's enough to really push through because again, it's an older game. There's a lot of jank you got to get through, and if you're more of a casual gamer, I just don't think this is going to be up your alley. But those are my thoughts. Appreciate everybody that hung out with me, and we're yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up there.